and welcome to this evening edition of ES 101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I'm Hashni Patrana, and let's take a look at your headlines first.
News First headline.
Presidential candidates continue election campaigns across parts of Sri Lanka. Jackson Anthony's wife joins forces with Sajith, appointed as SJB Gampa district organizer. Ceylon Workers' Congress backs Ranil in presidential polls. New political force to be formed with all who pledged support for Ranil, says Prime Minister. Sri Lanka seeks economic cooperation agreements from Japan to India, aiming for close integration with India. Heavy showers forecasted with landslide warnings in effect. In international headlines, India doctors end one strike over colleagues' rape and murder. And in your sports, it's cricket. Sri Lanka women opted to bowl first in the second ODI against Ireland women. And now let's take a look at your top local story. Now, with only a few more days left for the presidential election, presidential candidates continue to make their pledges and outline their policies for the country. SJB presidential candidate, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa attended a public rally organized by the Samika Janabala Vegaya in Ruanvalla this afternoon. A group of SJB parliamentarians and intellectuals also attended the public rally in Ruanvalla. Now, meanwhile, wife of veteran actor Jackson Anthony, Kumari Munasinghe, has pledged her support for opposition leader Sajith Premadasa in the upcoming presidential election by officially joining Samika Janabala Vegaya. Now, following a meeting with SJB presidential candidate Sajith Premadasa at the opposition leader's office, Kumari Munasinghe was appointed to the position of Gampa district organizer by Sajith Premadasa. In more local news, a public rally led by National People's Power presidential candidate Anurukumari Dissanayake was held in Kotikawata today. The rally was held under the theme Rata Anurata. Taking a look at more local news from the political arena. Now, Namal Rajapaksa, the presidential candidate from Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna or the SLPP, visited the Tissa Maharama Rajamahaviharaya today to seek blessings and engage in religious observances. He met with the chief incumbent of the Tissa Maharama Rajamahaviharaya, Most Venerable Dr. Devale Gamadhammasena Thero, where he received blessings for his candidacy. He said that he aims to support entrepreneurs and strengthen the local economy with a comprehensive and practical program. He added that he communicates his plans in a way that resonates with the youth as outlined in their manifesto. Independent presidential candidate Roshan Ranasinghe commenced his election campaign with a symbolic visit to the historic Galvihara in Polonnaruwa this morning. In a brief address following the religious observances, Ranasinghe emphasized his commitment to representing the silent voices of the nation. He expressed his belief that the forthcoming presidential election should transcend traditional political allegiances and focus on genuine development for Sri Lanka. Ranasinghe criticized the current political climate, urging voters to reject what he termed as the biggest thief or the father-son duo in favor of a candidate who prioritizes national development. Venerable Baltaramulle Seelaratana Thero, the presidential candidate for Janasatha Peramuna, commenced his campaign with a traditional ceremony to obtain blessings from sacred relics this morning. Following the ritual, he presented his manifesto to prominent Buddhist leaders, including the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Siddhartha Sumangala Thero, and Anunayaka, Most Venerable Nyangoda Vijita Siri Thero. Venerable Batharamulle Sila Thero criticized the current political landscape and past leadership. He questioned the effectiveness of previous leaders who, despite their extensive experience and high-ranking positions, failed to deliver tangible benefits to the people. Now, the Ceylon Workers' Congress has pledged its support for independent candidate Ranil Wickremesinghe in the upcoming presidential election. Minister Jeevan Thondaman expressed these views during a media briefing convened today.
The Ceylon Workers Congress National Council was convened, and we had taken into account the thoughts and opinions with relation to trade union and the political situation of the country from our members in the National Council. The National Council is the Politburo of the Ceylon Workers Congress, and through a democratic way, after much debate, we had decided that we will be supporting His Excellency the President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his bid for candidacy of the 2024 presidential election, and it is also subject to a memorandum of understanding which we will be signing shortly, and all the thoughts and opinions provided by our valuable members will be taken into account in that MOU on short-term and long-term transformation goals of the upcountry sector.
Now we're taking a look at more local news. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena announced today that discussions are set to begin to form a new political force with MPs and political parties backing Ranil Wickremesinghe. This announcement was made following his visit to the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Thibadwave Sri Siddhartha Subangala Thero, this morning. During his visit, Prime Minister Gunawardena expressed his commitment to ensuring that supporters of the government will not encounter any issues or threats regarding their participation in the upcoming general or local government elections. When asked by journalists if the discussions would lead to the formation of a new political party, Gunawardena responded affirmatively, quote unquote, "If we are to move into such a situation as Prime Minister, I will offer all my support and blessings to those working to create a political force and hold discussions." We have more local stories coming up from our political arena. Former Minister Harin Fernando was appointed as Special Advisor to the President. The appointment was made under Article 41 of 1 of the Constitution, and the former Minister Harin Fernando was informed of his new appointment as Special Advisor to the President on tourism, lands, sports and youth affairs through a letter directed by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Now shifting our attention to our President Ranil Wickremesinghe. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of strengthening economic cooperation and regional integration from Japan to India, with a special focus on deepening ties with India. The President made these remarks while addressing the Head of State session of the Third Voice of Global South Summit, held under the theme An Empowered Global South for a Sustainable Future. Now, President Wickremesinghe highlighted Sri Lanka's strategic commitment to expanding economic partnerships across Asia, particularly through the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multisectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, or the BIMSTEC. The President noted that as the Bay of Bengal region emerges as a hub of economic growth, the significance of BIMSTEC continues to rise. Sri Lanka as a member seeks close economic integration with India and is exploring economic cooperation agreements extending from Japan to India. The conference, chaired by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, brought together heads of states from various countries, and during his address, President Wickremesinghe praised India's efforts to strengthen the Global South, acknowledging while the West can no longer maintain its dominance in global leadership. He lauded the Voice of the Global South Summit as a crucial platform for fostering consensus on challenges facing developing nations. And finally, bringing to you a weather update. The Department of Meteorology predicts that heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places in western and Sabaragamu provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Now, meanwhile, several parts of Sri Lanka are currently inundated due to the prevailing showers. Landslide red alerts issued for the Kalatara and Ratnapura districts remain in effect. The landslide warnings are effective in the Bulat Sinhala and Ingiriya Divisional Secretariat divisions in Kalatara district and to Kalawana, Ahaliagoda and Alapada Divisional Secretariat divisions in Ratnapura district. Landslide warnings are also in place at several divisional secretariats in Colombo, Galle, Galle, Nuwara Eliya and Mathura districts. Heavy showers over the past 2 days have affected 2,354 people from 644 families across several districts. The most impacted areas are Kalatara, Ratnapura and Puttalam. In Colombo, the recent rainy weather has also led to several incidents of fallen trees and branches. In response, a special team has been assigned to address and remove dangerous trees within the city. Since January, a total of 70 tree falls have been recorded in Colombo during the period. Now, to streamline reporting of such incidents, the Colombo Municipal Council has introduced a dedicated telephone number, which is 011 2 422 222. The number once again 0112 422 222. Residents are encouraged to use this number to report any tree falls or related hazards.
International news.
Now let's take a look at our international news for this hour. Doctors in India have held a national strike, escalating the protest against the rape and murder of a female colleague in the West Bengal city of Kolkata. More than 1 million were expected to join the strikes as hospitals and clinics across India turned away non-emergency patients. The Indian Medical Association, or the IMA, described last week's killing as a crime of barbaric scale due to the lack of safe spaces for women and asked for country's support in its struggle for justice. Protests against the attack and calling for the better protection of women have intensified in recent days after a mob vandalized the hospital where it happened. In a statement, the IMA said emergency and casualty services would continue to run. The strike ended at 6 a.m. local time today.
Sports news.
And now let's take a look at our sports news for this hour. The second ODI between Sri Lanka women and Ireland women is currently underway in Belfast, Ireland. Now, winning the toss, Sri Lanka women opted to bowl first in today's match against Ireland. Ireland women posted a total of 255 runs for the loss of 5 wickets at the end of their allotted 50 overs. Now, Sri Lanka women will need a chase of 256 runs to win the match. And the Sri Lankan women are currently at 119 runs for the loss of 2 wickets at the end of 22.2 overs. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. Thank you for watching. I'm Hashni Patirana. Good night and take care.